We begin with the economic uncertainty created by President Trump, who, in the face of negative news about the U.S. economy, did what he so often does: fire the messenger. He announced he'd directed the termination of the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics just hours after a weak jobs report showed signs of a clear slowdown in the job market. In a social media post, he attacked Erica McIntyre, the commissioner of the BLS, saying reports, quote, are being produced by Biden appointee, adding that important numbers like this must be fair and accurate. They can't be manipulated for political purposes, without providing any evidence of his claim. Trump also claimed the numbers were rigged to make Republicans and him look bad, and said he didn't believe the numbers in an interview Friday night.
I think that these numbers were incorrect today. It's a Biden appointee, and we've had problems in the past, and we had problems even before the election. I don't believe those numbers. I think because we're doing so well, and we fired her.
Friday's jobs report showed a major downturn in hiring, with just 73,000 jobs added in July, well below expectations, and revised numbers from May and June showed the U.S. added 258,000 fewer jobs than previously reported. It's worth noting monthly jobs numbers have been revised down and up several times since President Trump took office. But this disappointing jobs report comes a day after Trump rolled out a sweeping new set of tariffs just hours before his own self-imposed August 1st deadline for deals. But the start date has been pushed back until August 7th, giving trading partners a week to negotiate. It's creating a new dose of uncertainty for consumers and businesses. That uncertainty sent markets into a tailspin. Wall Street posted its worst day in months as investors absorbed the 1-2 punch of the new tariffs and the poor jobs report. Joining us now, Courtney Brown, senior economics reporter for Axios, and former Senator Heidi Heitkamp of the great state of North Dakota. Thank you both very much for coming to the weekend. Senator, let me start with you, because I think people need to understand who Erica McIntyre is, the Bureau of Labor Statistics commissioner who the president fired. You know, she was confirmed to that position in January of 2024 on a bipartisan 86-8 vote in the Senate. And I'm going to read from this poll quote here. Among the Republican senators who voted to confirm her included then Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio, who is now Trump's vice president, and then Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, who, as we all know, is, among other things, Trump's Secretary of State. So, Senator, given who this person is, and given the reason why President Trump fired her, how will we ever be able to trust the jobs numbers going forward? How can we know that the data will be reliable?
Well, I mean, you have to hope that people within this idea that she's sitting there and she gets like all these numbers and does it herself is just ridiculous. We all know that there's been year after year modeling. There has been a whole algorithm devised. I mean, a lot of this is on autopilot, right? And so she's not doing anything other than reporting the numbers. She's not designing these numbers. And so the question, given that the system spit out that level of jobs, then what is the path going forward if Trump wants better numbers? And you have to hope that people, economists and people who know how important this data is and how it's been developed over a long period of time and relied on over a long period of time, that they will resist any change to manipulation of the numbers. But we'll wait and see. I mean, you know, it's just so typical. It's like, I know better. And it's like the numbers are the numbers. And he just refuses to accept facts. And he's got to, in my opinion, you know, respond to this in a way that is professional and say, what can I do to change these numbers? Change these numbers going forward by changing his economic policies and not by changing the numbers.
Courtney, you already have Democratic senators who are saying there should be some type of investigation into this. There should, they should maybe hold off on confirming whoever Trump puts up next. We also have GOP senators who have some issues with this. And I'll play some sound for you and get your response on the other side.
If the president is firing the statistician because he doesn't like the numbers, but they are accurate, then that's a problem.
If it was just fired because the president or whoever decided to fire the director just did it because they didn't like the numbers, they had to grow up.
So, Courtney, what are we actually seeing from Republicans here? It hasn't been that long, but we're already starting to see some responses that, Lummis is not, one who typically goes against the president on many things, if any.
Yeah, I think the reaction you're getting here is that this is supposed to be a very boring agency that no one talks about. Right. And the fact that we're talking about it, I think, speaks volumes. This is not a political agency by any means. What we know about the official who is acting on a temporary basis is that he's been at the BLS for years. He was an Obama appointee. So I think we can have some assurance that there will be no fudging of the numbers. But the fact that we're even asking this question, it's similar to the Federal Reserve and President Trump's pressure of Fed Chair Jay Powell. We're worried, I'm worried, my sources are worried, people on Wall Street are worried that whoever is next in the Fed Chair post, there's going to be questions about their political independence.
Courtney?
Yes.
How dare you say that about the BLS?
Sorry.
He thinks about it a lot.
It's neither boring nor forgettable. Can we get to the underlying issue here, which is the economy, right? I mean, Trump wouldn't be reacting this way if we didn't have a fairly negative jobs report. I mean, obviously there was growth, but we had incredible revisions, 250,000 revisions for the 2 months prior. What's the sort of macro takeaway about the state of the economy that set Trump off to decide that he had to sack the head of this, as you say, boring agency?
There is something kind of ironic here, which is because we got these revisions, because we got this jobs report, we thought the job market was chugging along all summer. Yesterday, 8:30, we learned, actually the economy has barely been adding jobs at all over the last few months. This is the best case Trump has to get his rate cut.
Right.
And that is what he's been wanting. The Federal Reserve might look at these job numbers and say, okay, the labor market is in a weaker position than we thought, so perhaps we need to give the economy a little bit of gas by lowering interest rates. And after the jobs report came out, bets that the Fed would cut rates in September surged. So President Trump might get that rate cut that he wants, but not for the reason that he was hoping for.
Because maybe a bad economy.
It's the bad news rate cut, not the good news rate cut.
Right.
Now, consider this scenario. The American economy is beginning to falter. Unemployment is rising. Employment figures are below expectations. But what is our president doing? Instead of coming up with policies to fix the numbers, he is cursing the calculator. BLS director Erica McIntyre was fired because the numbers were bad, as if she had just made up those figures while sitting at Starbucks. Remember how he once berated the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration for not liking the weather forecast? The whole imaginary hurricane hitting Alabama thing. Now, as the economy collapses, who's to blame? The economists, just like how they blame the voting machines after losing an election. Trump hasn't had a single day since becoming Trump where he's admitted his own mistakes. Speaking of which, in 2018, he even declared Jerome Powell, whom he appointed himself, as the enemy of the country for raising interest rates. History is repeating itself, but this time with unemployment in tow. This incident is actually harbinger of a much greater danger, the collapse of institutional independence. Technical institutions like the BLS are supposed to be above politics, presenting data impartially. But for the Trump administration, reality is just a marketing tool. Are the numbers bad? Then the numbers must be lying fire the woman and replace her with someone more Trump friendly. Remember Orwell's novel 1984? An authority that constantly rewrites the past? That's what we're experiencing now. But here's the funny thing. Erica McIntyre was confirmed by the Senate in January 24 with an overwhelming vote of 86-8. Moreover, among those who approved her were J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, one of whom is now Trump's vice president and the other is Secretary of State. So Trump doesn't hesitate for a second to sell out his own cabinet, yesterday's friend, today's enemy. We're witnessing the American right's internal inconsistency, and it's a spectacle, and it's a spectacle worth watching. And of course, the issue is not just about the firing. The economy is truly stumbling. Only 73,000 new jobs in July, a correction of 258,000 in May and June. This data signals a recession, and instead of covering it up, Trump is pouring gasoline on the fire with absurd tariffs. What kind of fasting is this? What kind of fasting is this? What kind of cabbage salad? Defend the free market, then impose tax hikes on China and Mexico. Wall Street isn't buying this game. The markets are in shambles, but for Trump, it's not the economy that matters, it's perception. Is the truth bad? Then I'll get rid of the truth. Now I ask, under such leadership, can any economic data released from now on be trusted? Or let me put it this way. If the BLS director seat has become more fragile than the president's ego, then this country is already unemployment from reality, from reason, from norms.